Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having another extension of an incredible story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Make sure you go to the website. That's the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Again, the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Go check us out, see what we're all about. We are a new nonprofit, so if there's any way you can help us out, it'd be much appreciated. Don't forget the Till Valhalla Project. They're an amazing organization. If you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you do, go back and check them out again. Like I say every time, an amazing organization. They do incredible work. And if you can help them in any way, it'd be much appreciated. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member.
Man, here we are. We got Dan. You can't hear me? Hello.
Can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. This is great. Doing it
Hang
again.
on a second.
What about now? Can you hear me now? Nothing. This is wonderful. Okay. Let me see if I go. What if I go here? Can you hear me here? No?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
I took it off my headphones and put it on my monitor.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, let me switch this mic back and see if it's my mic too. It could have been my mic. So
No, it had to be. I could hear the playthrough of the different stuff, but I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. Okay. What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yep. I can hear you.
Awesome. We are on a roll. Hey, here we are, man. I got Dan back with us, man. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. I can't complain. Looks like you're doing really good. I mean, look at the tan you got going on there. You've been doing something fun.
Right. Been on the bike all weekend. Well,
yeah.
At least Saturday.
Yeah. That's awesome. Definitely got some sun for sure.
Yes. Yes. I woke up Sunday morning and my nose had a scab on it.
Oh, geez.
Starting out.
Gotta love it, man. Well, hey, you're back. This will be part 3?
Part 3.
And then we'll jump into part 4 as well. Depending on how long we go, then I'll just split them up so we can just do them all together here. So it'll be good.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, shoot, let's jump into it. Where did we leave off, and where do you want to start?
All right. So we left off getting out in 2000 on my hardship.
Yeah.
So got out and did my first transition. So my first transition back into the civilian world. Now I had received a hardship discharge. So I was technically still in the reserves.
Right.
And I'd gotten out on the 22nd of March. So it'd been about 9 days after I got my commission, 2 years and 9 days. So going from an 01 to an 02, as long as you don't do anything really stupid, that's kind of a given. So I'd actually gotten out as an 02, as a Lieutenant JG. So transitioned back, went into the same job that I had when I went into the Navy. Had talked to my old boss and said, hey, I'm getting out. Do you have a job for me? And he said, absolutely. So, I explained what was going on and came back in. He had an older gentleman working for him. I say older gentleman. He'd been in a few years earlier than I did that he went in. So we just didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And so I'd worked there for, a year and a half or so. And walked in one day and the boss had been gone, and he came back and I unloaded the truck that he brought back. And I walked up and handed him my keys. And he's like, well, what's this for? Well, it's just not going good. And I don't want to put you in the position of having to fire me or decide which side you're going to take.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing for you. So I just gave him my keys, and he told me to come back on the weekend. He was going to talk to his wife about it. Went back on the weekend, seen him, and he was like, yeah, you just not getting along with everybody. And I said,
Yeah.
well, that's just the way it is. So moved on from there.
Okay.
During that year and a half, I had actually met somebody and had asked her to marry me.
Okay.
Found out that the day that I quit my job, found out that she was pregnant with our third, or with my third, her first.
Yeah.
And, went through a couple different jobs, basically worked for myself. I ended up doing maintenance for a bunch of filling stations around.
Okay.
Did that for a couple years, and had our third, or had my fourth, my youngest, and was not getting along great with a comptroller that the owner had hired to run stuff. So ended up getting fired at the Christmas party.
Oh my God.
That's kind of my goal. I let him know in no uncertain terms what I thought about him, and he went and whined to the boss, and so got fired at the Christmas party.
Very nice. Okay.
Sometimes have problems with authority. Sometimes I have problems with people who think they're an authority and they really aren't. But, so during that, my new wife had asked me, she said, do you miss it? Well, anybody who's been in and been out will say that they miss it. Even when you retire, you miss it.
Yeah.
And it's not that you miss the day-to-day stuff, you miss the camaraderie.
Yeah.
So that's what I told her. And she's like, well, why don't you see if you can get back in? And I'm like, are you sure you want me to do this? And she's like, well, absolutely. So I get a hold of a recruiter. And he's like, well, go in and get a physical. So I go in, get a physical, come back, get a hold of him. And I'm like, did you get my physical? He's like, yeah. And it had been, I don't know, a month or so.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, did you get it? He's like, yep, I got it. I said, okay. He said, well, do you have your uniform? And oh, by the way, Lieutenant. And I said, Lieutenant? Well, I'd been out 2 years.
Yeah.
So again, from 01 to 02, if you don't do anything stupid, you make 02.
Right.
From 02 to 03, if you don't kill anybody, it's almost an automatic 03.
Okay.
Well, I had been out long enough, and I remembered getting this letter in the paper, in the mail.
Yeah.
That said, if you want to be a 03, be a lieutenant, all you have to do is sign this and send it back to us.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing anything. So I remember throwing it in a trash can. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna do this. And he's like, oh no, yeah, you're a lieutenant now. I'm like, what?
Bonus.
Right? Bonus. So he tells me, he's like, well, get your uniforms together. You got to buy lieutenant bars and show up at the reserve center in Omaha.
Yeah.
So now I'm a reservist.
Okay.
And I heard you the other day making comments about reservists, but we'll get through that over on your other podcast.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I hate reservists too, and I was one.
Yeah.
But no, so go up to this unit, and he goes, oh, you're going to be the XO of this unit. Okay. So I'm brand new back in the reserves, and I'm the XO of a unit. I've got a lieutenant commander as my CO, and I'm the XO of the unit. There's probably 20 people up there at the reserve center.
And now, were they like full-time or like full-time reserve? How did that work?
Nope, just reserve.
Oh, okay.
Just weekend warriors.
Got it. Okay.
And had orders to the Naval Embarked Advisory Team. And
Okay.
the theory behind that unit was it was supposed to be a very officer centric unit.
Yeah.
So heavy officers, but there was only me and the CO. And we had like 20 enlisted guys in there. But the purpose for it was if we were going into a port to offload ships.
Right.
So they would fly our team out, a comms team basically, out to a ship. We would set up a comm suite. So it would be a civilian ship, fly out, set up a comm suite. Then we could talk as we were pulling into port. We would have comms with the military. And then we would jump onto another ship and fly out to it, land on it, do the same thing coming in. And then when they were one was ready to go out, we would embark on that one and take it out to open ocean and then swap back and go back and forth.
Oh, that's very interesting. Okay.
So all your prepositioned ships, which are USN ships, but merchant marines, this was if we were using other than our normal merchant marine ships.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that was the reasoning for this unit. There was a unit in Omaha, there was a unit in Oklahoma City, and there was a unit in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Well, being at the reserve center in St. Louis, I knew what the layout was, and there was way more officers in St. Louis than there was in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
Just because the job opportunities and, you get out as an officer, you're expected to, not expected, but typically you go into more of a white collar job.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
So a lot more opportunities there. And we had gone through some different training. They'd sent me out to San Diego to learn a comm suite out there. And so it was part of BibGrew 3, I believe, out of San Diego.
Okay.
Was who this unit fell underneath of. So I had been out there, like I said, I'd been out there for the school. I'd been out there another time. And for some reason, the command liked me. So they decided that they were going to get rid of this unit. Or not get rid of it, but they were going to move it to one location instead of 3.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So they called for me. They got a hold of my CO and they said, hey, we want Lieutenant Gross out here for this conference. Okay. So they fly me out to San Diego, sitting there, and had a pretty good idea of what was going on with this unit.
Right.
And so they said, well, we've got our choice. We can do St. Louis, we can do Omaha, or we can do Oklahoma City. And everybody wants to be selfish and keep something that they've got. They want to keep it where it's at. They don't want to, Omaha should want to keep it in Omaha and not send it somewhere else. Well, I looked at it reasonably and said, you've got more officers in St. Louis that aren't doing anything. We didn't have access to a skiff, so we didn't have access to TS or SIPRNet. But I knew that St. Louis did because they had a skiff. So I go to this conference. I'm the junior. I'm a lieutenant. I've got lieutenant commanders and commanders that are COs of the units.
Oh, wow.
And so here I am, the junior guy. And the CO from St. Louis never even showed up to San Diego to the conference. He called in.
Okay.
He had something going on. He was too important to come out. So
yeah,
he calls in and we're having this conversation. And, I pipe up and I'm like, I think it needs to go to St. Louis. And everybody kind of looks at me. And I said, there's a skiff there. They've got TS. They've got SIPRNet. They've got access to all that. They're not too far from Travis. So they can go work with the Air Force, multiple different things that they can do. And the CO from St. Louis is like, what do you mean there's a skiff in St. Louis? So I explained to him where it's at. And he's like, oh, I didn't even realize there was a skiff there.
What?
Because the reservists typically don't deal with skiffs.
Okay.
That was the active duty. And we had a CT on staff in St. Louis. So
Mhm.
that's why they had to skip.
Okay.
So, but I told him, I said, you've got the ability to do this. You just need to ask permission to go and use it. And you've got more officers sitting around there that don't have jobs that need to be gainfully employed.
Yeah.
And so, oh, okay. So we ended up moving to St. Louis.
Okay.
For my 2 weeks that year,
Uh-huh.
the command was like, well, we really don't need you anywhere. Where do you want to go?
Oh,
There was
that's great.
right.
Where do you want to go?
Yeah. What do you want to do? You don't need to be here for training or anything. You're going to be transferred. What would you like to do? So, Lieutenant Commander that was in Omaha at the time had reached out, and he goes, hey, there's a option to go to Fleet Week in New York.
Okay.
So I put in for Fleet Week and end up getting orders to go to Fleet Week.
So is that like to go work at Fleet Week or to
work at Fleet Week.
I got you.
He had been part of God, I should have looked this up this morning before I got on here. But I don't have the cap up there either. What do I even want to say? Gosh, brain fart here. The technology part of your R&D stuff.
Okay.
I can't remember what command that is. Hang on a second.
Technology.
God, I thought I had it. Anyway. So go to Fleet Week, and they put me in charge of security. And so it was they had brought a YP up from Annapolis that they used for the midshipmen to train them how to steer ships and give commands on the bridge and all that. So they had transformed this into an R&D type to show the public.
I see. Okay.
So just a shall we say dog and pony show. Just, hey, this is what we've got. Okay, great. So as I was there, they put me in charge of security. So we were down by the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, wow.
On the pier is where we were at. Everybody else was over on the other side of Manhattan, over by the Intrepid. So we ended up staying in the hotel that all the windows got blown out on 9/11. That was directly across the street from Ground Zero.
Oh, wow.
And we're on like the 36th floor, so way up high. So every morning I got to wake up and look in the pit at Ground Zero.
Wow.
And that was to watch the sunset in the evenings and look down there in the mornings and across during the day whenever we were back. That was a very moving sight every single day.
Wow. Yeah. I could definitely see that for sure.
The church that they ended up as kind of their headquarters, that was literally across the street, that none of the windows got broke out during when the towers came down. That was literally across the street from the hotel.
Oh, wow.
And they still had the pictures and letters that people had put up on the fences, looking for loved ones.
Wow.
And that church was literally across the street, and they said not a stained glass window got broke, nothing. So that's
amazing.
Pretty unreal. So yeah, that was my Fleet Week. I was doing security, so I would have to get up in the morning, get on the subway in my whites, go down to the Intrepid, do security briefings with everybody, and then get back on, go back over, and be there the rest of the day giving tours. So I was actually giving tours after the first day or so.
Yeah.
I had walked around with the groups just trying to learn what was going on.
Right.
And so they were like, you're doing a really good job. Why don't you start giving tours? So I started giving tours like on day 2 or 3. After I would go do security stuff, I would go back and do that.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very good experience. Not only was it very eye-opening being right there in New York City, but at Fleet Week, it was a very, very good experience. When we got ready to leave, they had civilians that were on the ship, making sure all the gear was running.
Okay.
Because it was a YP. I mean, that thing is an itty bitty little toy. It is, but it's not. But so when we got ready to leave New York, they looked at me and they said, "Hey, what are you doing next week?" What do you mean? What am I doing next week? They go, "Well, we're going to Virginia, to Norfolk, for the tall ship parade when all the sailing ships come in."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Well, do you want to come down there and do tours? You were so good at it this week. Do you want to, well, if you can get orders, you can come down there and do that next week."
Okay.
So I reached out to the Reserve Center and to my CO as I'm leaving New York. And I'm like, "Hey, I'm putting orders in for next week to go down to Norfolk for this event."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." And I said, "So when you get them, you need to go ahead and approve them." So literally, I left New York, and before I got back to Nebraska, I had approved orders, funded, ready to go back to Virginia the next week.
Yeah.
So did that. Went back the next week. Went to Virginia. They put me in a BOQ over at the base there in 32nd Street, or not 32nd Street. That's San Diego. Into Norfolk. And you got to drive back and forth to downtown Norfolk from the base. So I get down there and the guys are like, "Well, where are you staying at?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm staying on base." And they're like, "No, you're not. Go get your stuff." So went back, got my stuff, went down to the pier, and because they, like I said, they had civilians that you had to have somebody stay on the ship all night just to make sure things were working.
Right.
And so they would stay in their room one night, and the next night they would be on the boat.
Okay.
So I swapped between two guys' rooms for a couple nights. Whenever they had duty, I was sleeping in the spare bed in their room.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And just stayed right down there where everything was going on.
Yeah.
So that was a very, very unique experience. Like I said, waking up in the morning and looking down at ground zero and then going to bed with the sun setting over, that was a very emotional time.
Yeah. Man, that's but a great experience, right?
It was.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough. My wife actually came out for that. So got to spend a little bit of time with her out there. Give her an experience she'd never had before.
Very nice. Now, she wasn't like, she didn't grow up around the Navy or military, did she?
Not at all.
Okay.
Had no experience whatsoever. Didn't really know what she was getting into when she was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" Like, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of those things you get into it and you're like, "Whoa, what did I ask for again?"
Yeah. She stuck around for, we were together for 16 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, so I get done in New York, I get done in Virginia, come back, and now I've got to look for a new job because the unit's going away at the end of September where we were at. and everybody's got to find a new job. So I had talked to different people, and there were jobs up at Stratcom up in Omaha at Offutt Air Force Base, but I really don't fit into the typical officer scenario where I've got to listen to people.
Yeah.
in fact, when I was in Omaha, the guys had done something. Somebody done something dumb and got in trouble, and I had one of my little sessions of come to Jesus meetings with everybody, and they came in. They said, "Hey, sir, you need to go down and get your blood pressure taken for your physical." Okay, so I go down, and there's this crusty old captain. He's older than dirt, and medical guy, you know. So they take my blood pressure, and this captain looks at me and he goes, "Well, young man, your blood pressure's a little high." I said, "No, it can't be." And he looks at me and I said, "I got a whole classroom full of people upstairs that'll tell you I don't have a heart." Everybody in the room, there's like 10 or 12 people in the room besides us, thought it was funny and started to laugh.
Yeah.
The captain did not think it was funny. So he looks at me and I looked at him for a little bit and I said, "So should I start drinking more? Would that help lower my blood pressure?" Again, everybody else laughed except the captain.
Oh, jeez.
So he goes, "You need to get your blood pressure checked every single day for the next week."
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I ended up going down to the Reserve Center in Lincoln, which is where I was living at, and went in. Medical takes my blood pressure, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" So, well, I was told I needed to come in get my blood pressure checked. Why? It's fine. I said, "Well, you know, this is what's going on." They're like, "Okay." So they take it. I said, "Okay, I'll see you tomorrow." "No, you don't need to come in. Your blood pressure's fine." "I'll see you tomorrow." So I go in the second day. They're like, "If you come back the third day, we're going to lose your medical records. They're just going to be gone."
Oh, geez.
I said, "You know what? I guess I won't see you tomorrow."
Yeah, that'd be bad.
So as we're getting ready to get rid of the unit in Omaha, I drive to the Reserve Center in Lincoln.
Yeah.
And walked in and I said, "Hey, do you guys have a spot for a lieutenant?" And they're like, "Well, actually, we have this unit. And we've got an open spot. It's looking for an assistant OIC." I said, "All right." So I sat down with the OIC and have a conversation with him and a bunch of the people in the unit.
Yeah.
They ended up being a expeditionary fueling unit.
Oh, okay.
So basically the job for them was to go out in the desert, go out wherever, take great big water beds, for lack of a better term, fill them full of fuel, and then be able to transfer fuel out and in whatever needed to happen.
Okay.
So if, you know, your unit came in with a bunch of Humvees, whatever equipment they had, and they needed fuel, we could fuel them. They had tanker trucks coming in, unloading fuel there, so that it was just a fuel depot.
Okay.
But it was a supply corps officer bill. Now, I said SWOs eat their own in the last episode.
Yeah.
Supply corps officers are like very, very tight with their billets because there's not a lot of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, trying to get a supply corps billet for a line officer is kind of unheard of. But
okay,
the OIC that I had was a line officer, was a SWO. And so we send in the paperwork, see if we can get the waiver. And the problem was they didn't have anybody that wanted the job locally. And nobody wanted to travel for the job. So they're sitting there with nobody. And here comes this warm body, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And so I get the job. So we'll get the job. Start with those guys. ended up going out to San Diego to go through a fueling school. So went through you're in the Navy, they've got oil kings on the ship, which take care of the potable water, the fuel oil, all of that stuff, make sure everything is accurate and good and quality. Right. So I went through that school out in San Diego. It took a week or so. I think it was a 2-week school. But went out there, ended up doing a bunch of different training with that group. We never went out in the field to set stuff up, but we were working towards that. The headquarters for that unit was in Connecticut.
Okay.
So here's an 04 and an 03 in Nebraska reporting to an 06 in Connecticut. And
that seems so strange to me. I guess that's the reserve nature of the beast. I mean, just to make it work. It just seems strange.
Is. Yeah. It is. So there's at least one reserve center in every state. And so they've got units that don't necessarily need to work together. They can bring them together for training, but a lot of the reserve stuff is you're doing your PRTs. You're making sure that you're medically ready. You've got all your GMTs, your qualifications for basic military stuff. Then you work on your specific training.
Yeah.
So, and officers, as you get more senior, have to travel on your own dime to get somewhere for your unit. So when you get to 05 level, you got to travel on your own dime. If your billet is in New York or wherever it's at, you got to travel on your own dime. So that the junior enlisted and the junior officers, well, all the enlisted and the junior officers, if they live in Nebraska, they're not going to expect them to fly to San Diego, to a fleet concentration area where a lot of the units are out of, the headquarters are. So they don't expect you to fly there for training every week or every month.
Right.
Because that would just be a nightmare. And then, cost of travel all the time would just be crazy. So they put the separate units in different geographical areas, try to get them to work together. And that command was in Connecticut, but they had New York, they had all up and down the East Coast, and then they had Nebraska.
Okay.
So had gone out there a couple times for ranking boards for the enlisted, the officers and stuff. So in 2007, I had been doing funerals since I got into the Lincoln Reserve Center. So in 04, I started doing funerals and stuff there, helping them out.
Right.
In 2007, they had a training basically to see if we were ready to deploy.
Okay.
And that unit, my side of it was the expeditionary fueling side, but the command was a cargo handling battalion.
Okay.
So basically to set up in the port, the pre-positioned ships or, just USNS ships that are bringing cargo over, bringing unit stuff over. Our job was to unload that and then reload the ship with whatever was going back to
I see. Yeah.
To wherever. So just cargo in and out. So we go to Cheatham Annex in Virginia, out by Yorktown and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's a big supply corps headquarters. And we go out there, we do our training. Well, my CO up in Connecticut decided that I was going to be the security officer.
Okay.
So here I am, a line officer, because I never got my surface warfare officer pin. So I'm running around with a silver pin instead of a gold pin because I got it when I was enlisted.
Now is that so that wouldn't be normal then?
No.
Okay.
No. Most of your officers or all your officers realistically get their gold pin that says they can drive a ship.
Okay, yeah,
Well,
that makes sense.
when I was back in Hawaii on the Port Royal, I never got it. They got out. So, but I still had my enlisted pin, so I can wear my enlisted pin.
Yeah, okay.
So he looks at me and he goes, "You're going to be the security officer." Okay, roger that. So what do I know about security? I've been in the Navy. What do I know about being boots on the ground somewhere doing security? So I literally walk into the Marine Corps recruiter in Lincoln, and I'm like, "Hey guys, I've got a question." And they're like, "What?" I said, "I'm a dumb officer, never been in a situation. What do I need to do?" And kind of give them a rough idea of what's going on. It's, "Oh, well, you need your, all this and that and your OPs." And I said, "Okay, roger that." So I took some good notes.
Yeah.
And fly out to Virginia. I get out the base, and there's a senior chief that's active duty, because there's there's a reserve component, and then there's an active duty battalion that's out of Cheatham, or was out of Cheatham at the time.
Okay.
So again, the reserve components are there to augment the active duty components.
Right.
So we go through this, or we get ready to go through this training. I get there early, and I think I got there on Friday or Saturday, and I go find the senior chief, and I said, "Hey, senior, where are we going to do this training?" He's like, he said, "Well, I'll take you over to where you're going to set tents and stuff up at." I said, "Okay." So we go over, and the back of the tents are literally about 20 feet from the wood line.
Okay.
And they have poured concrete pads for us to put the tents up on, so we don't have to be in the dirt or the mud or anything. It's all nice.
Nice. Yeah.
So I looked at him and I said, "We've got some Seabees coming." I said, "Do you have any like heavy equipment, dozers or anything?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." I said, "Okay." He said, "So Monday, I want to get the bees in here that are qualified to get on some dozers, and I want to knock 100 yards of trees out."
Oh, geez.
"Excuse me?" And I said, "Well, I've got to have a clear field of fire. I've got to see what's coming at me." And he goes, "You can't do that." And I go, "Well, why not?" "Well, these are protected woodlands." And I said, "Well, you should have thought about that before you put all these sites up for the camp." And he's like, "Well, you can't do anything with the trees. They're protected." Okay. I said, "Well, then we can move the camp, right?" I said, "We're an expeditionary unit. Of course we can move the camp. We don't need to be set up on these concrete pads. We can move our camp anywhere we want to." "No, you can't. You have to have it right here." Like, you're taking all the fun out of this.
Yeah.
So okay. So we start setting tents up. We get the tents set up. Start through the first thing. And like I said, they'd said, the CO had said, "Hey, you're going to be the security officer." Mm-hmm. So we've got roughly 120, 140 people there to move cargo. And I've got myself and a first class that are the security team.
Just two.
Okay. We're in charge of security.
Gotcha.
So the off section, so they were doing 12-hour shifts to move cargo. Mm-hmm. And that's what they were there to train for. They were trained to use the big loaders to unload containers, reload containers. And they were working in 12-hour shifts. So whoever was on their off rotation was going to be our security force.
Okay.
So, you went and worked 12 hours, you came back. Okay, you're on for 2, you're off for the other 10. And we just rotate people through just so we had people on the perimeter, as security.
Okay.
But we only had like 20 9 mils and maybe 15 or 20 M16s.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, this isn't even right. This isn't what we would have if we were forward deployed.
Yeah.
There'd be a weapon for everybody, just the way it is. Well, that's not the way we're going to do this. Okay. Intel that we got said that they were going to do operations for a day, and then we were going to go into a lockdown in the camp because we may be attacked.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. So we're playing the game, and we had no cruise surf weapons, literally M16s and 9mm. That's all we had.
Like a worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario. I had asked for night vision, and I was told, well, no, you're not going to get night vision because nobody else is going to have night vision.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had gone out and spent my own money and bought fishing line.
Okay.
And we took cans and rocks.
Yeah, smart. Yeah.
You gotta, whatever you've got, you use it.
Man.
Improvise. Yeah. So we put these little traps out so we could at least hear if somebody was coming through the trees.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're 20 feet from the wood line, and what's the perfect place to get attacked? So we the first shift, the first 12-hour shift went out and worked, and they got all the cargo moved. Well, the second 12-hour shift was supposed to move all the cargo back.
Okay.
To its originating position, and then we would start. Well, they didn't get everything moved back. So we got to continue moving cargo. So the first group goes back out to move cargo and finish up what the second group didn't get done.
Okay.
So the first group comes back like 4 hours into their 12-hour shift. So they're supposed to be up for another 8 hours, technically.
Yeah.
So when they come back off the bus, I start handing out M16s and 9mm.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I've got these guys that are literally on shift for another 8 hours. So we're going to stand security because intel is we could be getting attacked tonight. So I had told my guys that, and we had no miles gear. We had nothing. It was just an honor system of who was going to get shot, who wasn't going to get shot.
Right.
So
just you saying bangity bang bang.
Bang bang bang. Well, we had blanks. They had blanks, but
well, that's good.
So we go out and I'm walking the camp, and I'm at the far end of the camp, and I hear this pop, pop, pop from the other end.
Yeah.
Well, security officer, my job is to keep the CO and the comm plan safe. That's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, if those two stay safe, we can lose people, but those are the top priorities.
Right.
So prior to this, we caught a couple of the OPFOR coming in to attack us. And they turned around, went back in the trees, and they were upset because they got caught.
Yeah.
So I hear this pop, pop, pop. I go to the far end of the camp where I hear it coming from. And they had made us put the CO's tent in a specific location.
Okay.
We couldn't move it. And I said, well, okay, you want us to put it here. We're going to move him to another tent. Like, no. He's got to be in this tent. Maybe a little bit of a setup.
Yeah, I would think so.
Right? So I take off the other end. I come around a tent, and here is an OPFOR guy getting up off the ground and starting to run towards me and running straight towards the CO's tent. So I draw on him, shoot, and he laughs as he walks by or as he runs by me.
Yeah.
I had also told my guys that if they shoot somebody and they didn't want to lay down, they didn't want to play the game, that if they needed to tackle them, they needed to do whatever, it was okay. I'd take the heat for it.
Okay.
Luckily, none of my guys listened to me, except for myself.
Oh, jeez.
So here comes this guy running past me, and I've got an M16. I'd taken a sling out, so I take off running after the guy, and he's running straight for the CO's tent. There's a ditch. There's a little bit of a road. There's another ditch, and then into the CO's tent. So as he's going through the second ditch, I'm on the road and I leap and I grab this guy by the shoulders from the back and drag him into the ground. So nice. He stands up screaming. Here comes this senior chief over screaming at me. They didn't do a very good job explaining what different things were. So they said if you get a smoke grenade in, it's gas. So they had thrown a smoke grenade in as they started the attack, but they didn't tell us that it was an explosion and not gas. So I think red smoke was supposed to be gas and green or gray was an explosion. But nobody had said this. Yeah, nobody had said this. So they throw a smoke grenade in. Everybody thinks gas. So we'd put our gas masks on and everything that we had. And I tackle this guy. I've got a vest on so nobody can see my rank, because at that point we had our rank insignias on our collars. Mm-hmm. So this senior chief comes over and just starts screaming, "What the hell are you doing? You can't touch him. That's assault." And I go, I attacked him. He was coming into the CO's tent, and I'm supposed to save the CO. So, I tackled him because of this stuff that happened prior to, and he didn't want to play the game. Yeah. And the senior chief's like, "Well, what if I told him his job was to capture the CO?" And I said, "Well, the CO told me my job was to make sure nobody did. Who wins?" And when I drug him into the ground, I ended up cutting his cheek. Yeah. And so he's bleeding. Not bad, but bleeding. Yeah. And so here comes this lieutenant. This lieutenant comes over and is like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "I did it. I admit it. I drug your guy into the ground." Yeah. So I said, "You want me to go get the CO?" Now the CO is on the other side of the tent. He's in the tent. We're standing outside the tent, and I'm getting screamed at. Yeah. So I walk in the tent, and I'm like, "Hey, sir, can I get you to come over here?" He's like, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, I apologize." I said, "I tackled somebody coming into the tent, and evidently I wasn't supposed to do that." So he goes out. Now, mind you, my CO was about 6'2", 6'3". Yeah. Asian with a Texas accent.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. His mom was Asian, his dad was American, and he grew up in Texas.
Nice.
So here's this great big tall Asian guy with a Texas accent. And he comes out and he's like, "What's going on?" And this senior chief goes off and, "Your guys are tackled one of my guys, and that's assault." And so after the senior chief and his lieutenant are screaming at each other and at my CO, I just looked at him and I said, "Should I go debrief everybody and let them go to bed?" "Yeah, go ahead and do that." So I go over and grab everybody and circle in a little circle. And I'm like, "Hey, turn your weapons in. Give me like 3 people. Everybody else, turn your weapons in, go to bed."
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Well, why?" And I'm like, "Because evidently we played the game too well. We beat them at their own game." So, and you would think in the military I grew up in, you train as you fight.
Yeah.
So if they're going to put us on a fob somewhere and we're supposed to do security, everybody should have their weapon with them. And we get attacked, everybody should be defending that camp, period.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, they didn't think so. So they leave. They ended up taking the guy, and he went and got 2 or 3 stitches in his cheek where I cut him open. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, 2:00 in the morning, we get, here comes the lieutenant. The lieutenant comes back with this bright orange vest on and this red hat.
Okay.
And everybody's like, "What the hell?" So I'm like, I looked at him. I said, "So what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just here." "Okay. Well, I'm walking the perimeter because I told everybody else to go to bed."
Yeah.
So I start walking the perimeter. He goes, "What are you doing with a long gun?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm the security officer. I can carry whatever I want." "Well, you're an officer. You're only supposed to be carrying an M9. And I go, "No, I can carry whatever I want." So he starts walking with me. And I looked at him and I said, what's the matter? Did you guys get upset because we beat them the first time they came in? So now you're tasked with following me so they know where I'm at? And this lieutenant goes, I don't get tasked. I task. And I just look at him. I'm like, okay, believe that if you want to. So we go along the back of the camp, and here comes another guy, and I get to the far end, and I hear this pop, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Well, you just got shot. Lay down. And I'm like, I just got shot. He's like, yeah. I said, well, was it a headshot? Was it center of mass? I said, I got my vest on. What did I get shot by? He goes, you're shot. Lay down. You're dead. Okay. So here comes somebody else around the corner, and we hear pop. So lay down. You're dead. All right, whatever. So here comes Rambo. He's literally got a 60 with a belt over his shoulder, and he stands outside the tent that happened to be right there. And I've got people laying in their cots, literally on the other side of a GP medium. And he opens up with this 60. He opens up with this 60. And as he's doing that, I hear a pop from the wood line. And I said, hey, Rambo's got to lay that thing down. He just got shot. He's dead. Your own sniper took him out. Well, Lieutenant didn't think that was funny. Rambo didn't think that was funny. And so he opens up with his 60. Just unloads on this 60. So they run through the camp. They come in from all sides. I've got like 4 or 5 people on watch, as security. So they come in, they kill the CO or take the CO hostage. They take over the comms, they win and we lose. So they feel better. So as their
gotta make sure their feelings are okay,
Their feelings are okay. So as they're leaving, I'm like, oh, big boy with big gun. Does he feel better now? And I'm making fun of him and he's all pissed. And like I said, it happened to be the guy that got stitches that I tackled earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which made it that much better. So,
that's priceless.
So we finish the exercise, okay, great. As we turn weapons in, we turn them into the armory. And I told the gunner's mate, the GM1 that was there, I said, hey, I'm coming back in 2 weeks for another exercise with another group. Can we get some crew serve weapons? We're supposed to be doing security. Security with M16s and 9mm is not security. And he's like, I told him what had happened. He's like, yeah, we'll hook you up. And I said, can we get some miles gear? I said, I don't even care if it doesn't work right. Just something so that it keeps the honest person honest.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'll see what I can do. I said, okay. So as we're doing the debriefing, my CO walks up to me and he goes, so are you going with me? And I go, what do you mean? Are I going with you? He goes, well, I'm going to Kuwait in September. We're mobilizing in September. Are you going with me? And I said, well, that's kind of your choice. You're the one cutting orders. So if I'm going with you, I'm going with you. And I said, yeah, I'll go with you. He's like, okay. So in the 2 weeks between, I get a phone call from the Reserve Center in Lincoln. It says, hey, sir, can you do a funeral? Like, yeah, what do you got? So I get it's a active duty EOD tech out of Whidbey Island or out of Washington State. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So we get a group together. We go out to this town, and he wasn't from there, but him and his wife had met going to college in York, Nebraska.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they decided that's where they wanted to live when he got out, or at least that's where they wanted to be buried at when something happened. So we take a van out, and we had enough people to do a detail at the auditorium, because they actually had the funeral at an auditorium downtown.
Okay.
And then we had a group for the cemetery. So I get there. There's a senior chief master diver and a warrant officer, a gunner warrant officer.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we walk in, I start talking to him. I'm the senior person there, start talking to him. And I'm like, you know, okay, we're going to do the detail here. We'll do the detail out there. And master diver looks at me and he goes, well, my guys that escorted him home will be pallbearers. Absolutely. Have they ever folded a flag? I don't think so. So I take a group and we all stand off to the side and we fold this flag. I put them in the center so that, because it was a 6-man fold.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
2 at the head, 2 in the center, 2 at the feet. But so they really, all they have to do is continue folding, and we're not expecting them to try and do the quarter folds and stuff.
Yeah.
So we do that, and I've got orders for September, and this is May. So having this conversation with them and you know, puts me in a different headspace of, you know, I'm burying one of the active duty guys that was over there, and this warrant and this senior chief, we go in the back room and have a pretty good conversation for a while. And I take the group out to the cemetery. The Navy had actually got rifles from the Marine Corps to do the 21 gun salute for him. Typically it'd be the Marines would go out if we're doing that, or your local Legion, your local VFW, whatever would do that. But being an active duty, they ended up getting rifles from the Marines up in Omaha to come out and do that. So we I go out to the cemetery. They come out. The first time I had heard the riders come out. So or the Patriot Guard.
Yeah.
So I'm in cemetery, and here comes Patriot Guard leading the procession. Our fine individuals from Kansas came up to protest the funeral. And the church that was down in Kansas that would go protest throughout the Midwest, all the military funerals. So they had actually came up, but the town of York had actually lined pretty much the whole street, the whole procession route out to the cemetery.
Wow, that's awesome.
Not a big issue there with the group, but come out, we do the fold the flag, and I present it to the admiral that was there, that was from his detachment from up in Washington. Present the admiral, he presents it to the widow. This guy had a wife and I believe 3 kids, if I remember right, at the time. He was second class. And so, you know, it puts me, here I am, a lieutenant, even though I know I'm going to Kuwait, or should be going to Kuwait, still going over into what could turn into who knows what.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we go back, do that funeral, and I go back the next week for my second round of training for another group that was supposed to be deploying as well.
Okay. And
So-
this is back to
Back to
Virginia.
Cheatham.
Okay.
Yep. Back to Cheatham Annex in Virginia.
Got you.
So I had already been through the briefing on the first one. So supply officer that was there, and all the officers were supply corps except for me,
Oh, wow.
because it was a supply corps battalion,
Yeah.
and the unit I was assigned to happened to be part of that battalion.
Okay.
So I the phone rings, somebody's cell phone rings. I grab it because, like I said, I'd been through the briefing already. So I go back in, answer the phone, come back out. And as I'm coming back out, the lieutenant that happened to be there the first time, that was upset with me for tackling his guy,
Yeah.
is briefing everybody. He said, and there will be no physical contact during this exercise. And everybody turns and looks, and I just walked out of the room, and he looks up and looks at me, and he goes, crap, he's here again. and being sister groups, everybody from the first group had already let everybody from the second group know what had happened. So everybody knew what happened. Everybody wanted to do security.
Of course.
So
perfect.
We ended up with a couple of 50s, a couple of 240s, and as well as 16s and M9s. So for the attack on that one, they put me in the headquarters unit, like, I don't know, 6-8 blocks away, that I was supposed to be miles away when the attack happened, so that I wouldn't be there for anything. But my guys were already geared up for it. So
they were ready to go.
They were ready to go. I didn't even have to be there for them to do a great job.
They had itchy trigger fingers, and man, they were excited.
They were excited to take the fight to them.
That's awesome.
So we get through that, and end up going through my in processing to come in September. And actually, right before I left, I get another phone call from the Reserve Center. Okay. And this one was from up in Omaha that said, "Hey, sir, we've got an active duty funeral. Can you do this?" I'm like, "Give me the details." And he said, "Well, he's an EOD tech." And I said, "Is he from Washington State?" And they said, "Yes." And this guy was from Bellevue, from up in Omaha. And
another EOD guy.
Another guy from the same unit.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, absolutely. Not even a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I go up, we go over to the church, and we're all piling out of the van. And as I start walking towards the church, here comes this senior chief master diver and this warrant officer.
The same one.
Same ones.
Yeah.
And I walked up, and I'm like, "What the hell are you two doing here?" And they looked at me, and they kind of gave me that look, and then they kind of smiled. And I said, "I don't ever want to see you, either one of you, in Nebraska again." And they're like, "We don't ever want to be back here." And I go, "Good." Yeah. And they said, wow. Are you taking care of this?" And I said, "Yep, I'm in charge of the detail." And they said, "Okay, we're going to go in and take care of the family." Because I had done this for them in May, April or May, and we're back in August, September timeframe.
Right.
And they're like, "You did a good job," because on the original one, they were worried about the reservists are going to do this.
Right. Yeah,
and they had heard rumor that somebody had folded a flag inside out and handed it to a family a few days before that.
What? Oh my God. Hopefully that did not happen.
It did.
Oh,
it did. It was the Air Force.
Oh, that's not good.
So, once they realized I was there, they were like, "Hands off, you take care of it. You're good." Okay. So we do. And so I leave for Virginia. We go through our initial workups, and we were going to be doing the customs battalion portion of it.
Okay.
They already had, or we were going to be doing the cargo handling. Sorry about that. We were doing the cargo handling. There was already a group forward that was doing the customs side, checking bags.
Right.
And our group was going to go over as the port group to load and unload ships, and the headquarters element to take care of both the customs and the port group.
Okay.
So go over during the whole workup time when we were in, the board met for me to make 04.
Okay. So
I'm expecting the message to come out. I'm making 04 because, here I come in as in the reserves as an XO of a unit with great fitness reports. I go to a assistant OIC for another group, great fitness reports, and should have been a shoe-in for 04.
Right.
Well, there was a discrepancy in dates. And so your fitness report can go 15 months, but this was like a few days over 15 months. And the higher headquarters, the command that actually submitted it, didn't look at it close enough. Okay. So it went to Millington. Millington sees it and says, no, this is wrong, and sends it back to the command.
Oh.
Well, an active duty E7 that was there gets it and files it on her desk and doesn't say anything to anybody. So if I would have known that there was a discrepancy in it, I could have sent a letter to the board saying, hey, this is a copy of what I've got. It's not right as far as the dates, but they're fixing the dates and we're putting a new one in. But when they did it, I had a 15-month gap for my fitness reports.
Oh, wow.
The most recent 15 months. So
yeah, that's bad.
That's bad. So when they looked at it, I mean, I know my record went straight to the bottom of the pile because, you know, he doesn't care about his record, so we don't care about him. So as we're doing workups, I find this out, have a conversation with the CO. CO's like, you know, we'll do a special board for you if you want. I was like, nope, I'm just going to take with what I've got and we'll see what happens next year. So we deploy, we get over there. We had a lieutenant that his dad was an admiral. So he had done a lot with the brass and he was the distinguished visitor coordinator as well as some other bogus job.
Okay.
They had put me in as the security officer for physical security, for just classified material, all of that. Basically, I was a shitty little jobs officer.
Okay.
So I was the ATFP, Anti-Terrorism Force Protection Officer, the security officer, you know, just whatever. Well, the lieutenant that went over for the DV coordinator ended up hurting his knee. So they rotated him back.
Okay.
Now, the captain that I had is the same captain that was laying in the tent when I tackled the guy.
Really?
Yeah. That's who I deployed with. So,
oh, that's too funny.
He calls me into his office and he goes, yeah, we're going to make you the DV coordinator. And I'm like, sir, you trust your career with me. You know how I am. You know I don't deal good with authority, but you're going to trust your career with me. Oh, yeah, it'll be fine. Okay. So now I'm the ATFP officer.
Yeah.
I'm the security officer, and I'm the DV coordinator. There was a lieutenant commander that will go unnamed, but anybody who sees this will know exactly who I'm talking about. That was special. And when he met the CO the first time, they had gone out in the wardroom, all the officers were going to get together and go bowling. So as he met the CO asked him, because he didn't know the guy. He was an IA, individual augmentee, just in there to fill a spot.
Right.
So he asked him, he said, so what have you done in the Navy? And he looks at the CO and he goes, I have not done so little and got paid so much in my entire life.
Wow.
Yes. So they had put him as the operations officer.
Oh, well, hey,
because
their money's worth.
Well, they needed somebody, and he was an 04. So, you know, in the military, doesn't matter how smart you are or how, you know, the rank is what everybody looks at typically. So he was an 04. I was an 03. Okay. So December comes around and our CSO, CSO, he was in charge of all the in codes.
Okay.
For the office space. And he tells me, he goes, yeah, we're gonna put you in as the ops officer. He goes, and he went on emergency leave. He said, when I get back, we're gonna put you in as the ops officer. I said, okay. So this is December. Christmas Eve, we got everybody had cell phones over there so that you could reach each other. And we all get a call that we need to come into headquarters. So we all come into headquarters Christmas Eve. Pull us into the conference room, all the head shed. And one of our sailors was with the customs battalion, had gone from John, which is where we were at, up to Ali Al Salim, the air base, and they had a customs base up there as well.
Okay.
So he had gone up with another person to pick up contraband that you would get going through customs. And he was on his way back, or they were on their way back, and a Kuwaiti national came onto the interstate, basically, on an on-ramp and over by the Kuwaiti Gun Club, and hit the car, rolled the car, and one individual walked away with minor cuts and scrapes. And we were told at that point that Petty Officer Jeffries was dead.
Oh, geez.
So they said, don't say anything to anybody because we don't want to ruin anybody's Christmas. So we're going to keep this in the head shed.
Right.
Okay. Well, the CSO was gone. So that evening, well, before we get to that, we'd all walked out of the conference room. We've been out of the conference room a couple of minutes. They called us all back in, and Jeffries was on life support. They had him at the hospital. He was on life support, but they didn't know if he had any brain activity. So they didn't know if he was dead or if he was just, how bad he was. So, okay, he's on life support. We're going to put out the messages that we've got a casualty. So that afternoon, the CO looks at me and says, hey, the CSO isn't here, so pack a bag. You're going with me tonight because we're going to go around to the other camps, the other bases, and have a Christmas celebration.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, okay. So I packed my bag. We left Arif John, and we went to the port first. And I forget, we went to the port. Yeah, we went to the port first. So as we're headed over to the port, S-Pod is what they called it. He's on the phone trying to get updates on Jeffries. We get to the port. We're there. Everybody's having a great time because nobody knows what happened. So, okay. And that was probably one of the harder things, at that point. Here we've got to be joyful and cheerful, but we can't tell anybody that we've got somebody that passed or was in a serious accident. So we get done there. We go over to the naval base, which is KNB. We had a group over there. And actually the group at S-Pod, they lived at KNB and they worked 12-hour shift at S-Pod. So they would go back and forth between the two.
Okay.
So we went over to the other group and again, had to put on a smiley face. Hey, everything's fine. We're good. And ended up spending the night over there. I'd had my wife send over a stocking. Well, I took it to the extreme. I had her find a red fishnet stockings, and that's what I put on my head for Christmas.
Nice.
And but we go through this. We can't tell anybody about Jeffries. So we get back to base. They had flown his family from Hawaii, and Jeffries was actually an augmentee into the customs battalion that was there. So they'd flown her and the family over, and then they flew them to Germany, and they medevaced him to Germany.
So they were meeting them in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they medevaced him to Germany, and they were doing the brain scan to see if he had any brain activity.
Right.
Now, Jeffries was in his early to mid 50s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And was in great shape. Wasn't like a typical mid 50s American.
Right.
I mean, this guy he was a teacher. He was a phys ed teacher in Hawaii. Was well liked all the way around. So New Year's Eve, they did the brain scan. And my understanding, again, I haven't talked to the family. My understanding of what happened is they did the brain scan. They went in to brief the wife and let her know that there were no activity in the brain.
Right.
And before she had the chance to pull the plug, his body gave out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So my Christmas to New Year's, typically, even today, is a crappy.
Oh, yeah.
Crappy 10 days. So after Jeffries passed, we continued on. I became the operations officer. So now I'm the shitty little jobs officer, the operations officer, the everything. And they had made the previous operations officer, he was a PAO officer.
Okay.
So he got to fly around and do little stories and take pictures, kind of to stay out of everybody's hair.
Yeah, you're driving me crazy.
So did that. Then the Admiral came over for the group. So she flies over. You've heard of Fragos, right? The Army does Fragos for everything.
Yeah.
So while she's over, and I'm the operations officer, I have a chief working for me. And that's the operations department.
Just you and the chief?
Chief and myself.
Wow. Okay.
And we're at the higher headquarters, and then we've got the port group, and they have their operations department, and we have the customs battalion, and they have their operations department.
Right.
So all good. We're all getting along. Everything's going smooth. CO walks up to me and he goes, "We're going to take the headquarters element out of the port group, and we're going to take the headquarters element out of the customs group, and we're going to put them all together, and they're all going to fall underneath of us. And you need to make all of this work."
Oh, God.
So the higher headquarters had a talk.
Yeah.
The customs side had a talk, and the port group had a talk.
Okay.
Well, they're all going to come to one place, and you and Chief need to figure out how to make this all work. So here we are. Oh, and by the way, the Admiral's coming. So you've got to do a itinerary for the Admiral, dog and pony show. She needs to go everywhere. Okay, great. So had her lined up to go over and meet Arsent, the Army Central Command that was in Kuwait. We get over to K&B, and she's meeting the troops, shaking hands, talking to everybody, taking pictures. We get over there, and we get a sandstorm that comes in. So
okay,
the roads go red. Can't drive anywhere. Okay, so we've got her there. I'm on the phone with Arsent's point of contact, trying to make sure that everything works. So we end up getting her back over to Erfjan, get her in to see Arsent, and I'm juggling this all on phones, like canceling appointments, making appointments, talking to all these people. We get it all taken care of.
Yeah.
And the CO looked at me, and we were there for less than a year, so we would do an R&R in Qatar.
Oh, okay.
Well, I had skipped going to Qatar because here I am getting thrown in the middle of everything. And I'm like, I don't have time to go. I'll stay here. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
So the CO decided, hey, pack your bags. We're going to Bahrain.
Okay.
You're going to go with me and the CSO, and we're going to escort the Admiral and the Master Chief, and we're going to escort the Admiral and her aide and the PAO that came over with her. We're gonna escort them over to Bahrain, and then we'll be there for a couple days, then we'll come back. Okay, I get to go to Bahrain. Absolutely. Because you can drink in Bahrain. In Kuwait, you can't drink.
Huh.
So we get into Bahrain. I walk into my hotel room, and it's because when we're in Kuwait, even though we're in hard buildings, you know, the shower trailer and stuff is 100 yards away. So you're walking to the showers every morning. You got to go to the dump, got to go, you know, everything back and forth to the heads. So here I am. I'm in a hotel. They've got clean sheets, bathrooms right there. I'm like, I'm living life. So the aide, the admiral's aide that was with us, was a lieutenant commander, and her and I were lieutenants together. She had actually been part of my CO's higher headquarters in the States. So we all knew her. I knew her on a first name basis. My chief that stayed back in Kuwait knew her as well.
Okay.
So he goes over to the Army and says, we need a Frago. So Chief started working on this Frago and had to get it, you know, touched up. But it was a Frago. It was a fake Frago that basically said that all gold and jewelry that had been bought in theater was linked back to terrorist organizations and had to be surrendered, and until they could do an investigation on
it. Okay.
Now, my CO knew about it, and my CSO knew about it, and I knew about it.
Yeah.
So we're sitting around the hotel as we're getting ready for the admiral to fly out, and everybody, the admiral, the PAO, the admiral's aide, had all spent money on jewelry while we were there. So we're sitting around just getting ready for them to pack their stuff and take them over to the airport. And I'm talking to the CO and I'm laughing. I said, oh yeah, I don't know when I should do this Frago. And he goes, well, have you told the admiral about it? And I said, no, haven't. So I gave her a brief. I said, ma'am, here's what's going to happen. You're going to come down. I'm going to hand you this Frago. I'm going to tell you that all the jewelry you just purchased has to stay. and she's like, I like this. So now the admiral's in on it. So
that's great.
Here comes the PAO, and she gets down there and I hand the admiral this paperwork, and she looks at it, she goes, oh my, oh this is bad. So she's like, well, what? Well, we've got to leave all the jewelry we just purchased. And the PAO had just picked up this big diamond set of earrings over there.
Oh no.
Like a couple grand worth.
Oh geez.
And yeah, they were expensive. And so the admiral, she reaches over and she's taking her bracelet off that she had just got. And the PAO is like, what do you mean? Well, you know, we can't take anything. We've got to keep it. They've got to keep it here until they can do an investigation on it. And then we can get it back. So as the PAO is taking her earrings out, she literally drops one of them on the floor.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh, we can't have any damage here. So the admiral hands me her stuff. The PAO hands me her stuff. I walk out to the van. The admiral's aide is already in the van. And I'm like, hey, Trace, I've got some bad news for you. She's like, what? Well, I've got this Frago that all jewelry that's been purchased over here recently has got to be left because it's been linked back to funding terrorist organizations. They've got to do an investigation on each purchase to make sure that it wasn't. And if it was, then you forfeit everything. If it wasn't, you can have it back and we'll get it to you.
Yeah.
And she loses her mind. Just lose. This is bull. And she just goes off on me. She gets out of the van, walks back to the back door of the van to open the back door and get her bag out. And the admiral looks at me and she goes, how far are you going to take this? I'm like, just a minute, ma'am. It'll be great. So she unzips her bag. She goes through it. And I said, "Hey, Trace." He says, "Wait, stop." "What?" I said, "I'm just joking, just messing with you." The PAO is standing next to the Admiral. The PAO hits me, punches me, and starts, and I turn my back to her, and she just starts pounding my back. And the lieutenant commander, Tracy, she gets in the van. She's pissed at me. So I jump in the van with the Master Chief to take them all over to the airport. And Tracy won't even talk to me. She's just pissed. She's like, "I can't believe you did that." Again, we've been in the desert since November.
Yeah.
This is like February, I think it was.
Okay.
You know, we're bored.
Yeah.
It's a shitty time. Yeah, you gotta have something to have a little bit of fun. So the Admiral has to explain this to the PAO that, you know, we're just blowing off steam. It's not a big deal. Nobody got hurt. Everybody's got their stuff. So take them to the airport, drop them off. They fly back. Evidently, the PAO went off on the Admiral all the way to England.
Oh, God.
And the Admiral finally just looked at her and told her to shut up. Just be quiet. Stop. So we fly back to Kuwait. Everybody gets a good laugh out of it. Have you seen the clip with Robin Williams where he's doing a show and everybody just stops and turns their back on him?
Oh, yeah.
We were over there when that happened. I was actually in the crowd
kidding.
that night. Yeah.
Very cool. So you were at that show, or?
I was at that show.
Oh, wow. That is cool. That is a really interesting clip, though.
It is.
Yeah. Everybody just stands up, turns around, and he's like, what do I do?
Yes, it was classic. And the stocking cap that he had on, the beanie he had on, it says Tango. Well, the customs group was Tango, was the Tango rotation.
Oh, I see.
And and the headquarters element and the port group was the Gulf rotation. So and the CO of the customs group, he could sell ice cubes to an Eskimo. I mean, he was a salesman.
Yeah.
So anytime he could get stuff out there, he would get stuff out there with his name on it, and yeah, it was a good group. So we finish up that deployment. As our reliefs come in, my relief was this African-American guy that I knew. Had met him at a couple of different things with the battalion.
Yeah.
And he was a cop down in by Atlanta, down in Georgia.
Okay.
So had a shaved head and he liked to smoke cigars.
Okay.
So you could get Cuban cigars in theater, and it was okay to smoke them in theater, but you couldn't bring them back to the States.
Right.
Because we still had the embargo with Cuba. So contraband would be Cuban cigars. So you had to destroy them. It didn't matter how you destroyed them. So as long as you destroyed them, it was fine.
Nice.
So April 1st of 2008 is the day I shaved my head.
Okay.
Because he was coming in the next day. So I went and shaved my head and showed up at the airport with the group to welcome him with a shaved head and a cigar.
Oh, nice.
He gets off the plane. He's like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, here's your stogie. And why do you have hair? He's like, "Oh, my wife got mad at me and told me I couldn't shave my head anymore."
So he grew his hair out and you shaved.
He grew his hair out. I've got a shaved head.
Nice.
I told him, I said, "Well, you're going to be in theater for a while, so, you know, I expect to see a shaved head." So sure enough, next morning he shows up with a shaved head, smoking his stogie.
Nice. Oh man, that's too good.
And we all know that officers don't make things happen. I mean, we're there for a signature. We're there for safety. We're there to look at the 20,000 foot level.
Right.
But the junior enlisted, the enlisted by far, but the junior enlisted more so, make things happen.
Right.
So here I am in 03, and the new group comes in. They're trying to get, we had a group in Al Assad, Iraq, that were doing customs up there. And so, or they were kind of doing customs. They were doing cargo stuff, kind of a mixed bag of stuff.
Okay.
And they had, the incoming group had a group that had to get up to Al Assad to do a turnover. Well, they gone up to Ali Salim, and they got bumped like 3 days in a row from the flight to Al Assad.
Okay.
And we're coming down to less than a week before we're supposed to be on a plane headed back to the States.
Oh, geez.
They haven't done a turnover yet. So I walk over to the Air Force side, the cargo side, and I'm like, hey, what do I need to do to get these guys up there? Oh, well, they just need to go up to Al Assad and get on the manifest, and they'll get up there. I said, they have for the last couple days, and they keep getting bumped. Well, they need to go to Al Assad. That's in the Marine Corps district. That's Marcent area. I said, okay. So I go over to Marcent, and here's a corporal and like a lance corporal sitting there. And I come in and I go, hey guys, I'm a dumb officer. This is what I need.
Start your conversation like that. I'm a dumb officer. Here we go.
You know what? I know where they are. I've been where they are.
Yeah.
I'm not there to run stuff. I'm there just to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And I would be like, hey, I've got this group of 10 or 12 people that I need to get up to Al Assad. We're doing a turnover. The group up there also needs to come back here. Okay. When does it need to happen? I said, we're within a week of getting on a plane and getting out of here. So I need to get them up, do a turnover, and get them back as soon as possible. Okay, give me an hour. Okay. So I leave. I walk back over. My reliefs are all in a tizzy because to have an aircraft movement in less than 24 hours requires a general officer's signature. Okay. So they're all they're freaking out, trying to figure out how they're going to get this letter signed to get this to happen. I'm like, well, gin it up. I go, I'll go down the over to the next section and talk to the general. I don't care. I said, he puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have a problem doing that. So they start ginning this letter up. I walk back over to Marcent, and I walked in, and these two kids are sitting there, and they're like, hey, sir, here's your tail number. And I'm like, okay, when's it going to be here? Oh, it'll be here tomorrow at like 1200 or whatever. I forget what time it was supposed to be there. And I'm like, well, I was told that it takes a general officer to make stuff happen in less than 24 hours. And they're like, they just started laughing. They're like, yeah, we've been told that too.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
So, but telling them, walking in and telling a senior or a junior person that the senior person has no idea how to make something happen. A junior person looks at that and says, hey, I can show off. I can be that person. The officer doesn't know what he's doing, but I know what needs to happen, and I can make it happen. And they'll shine, and they'll do it because they're showing up the officer. Well, it kind of backfires on them when the officer comes in and says, hey, I'm dumb. I don't know what I'm doing. And admits to it. Cause typical officers are like, well, I'm better than the junior enlisted.
Yeah.
And you've got to listen to what I say. That's not how the military works. As I told the senior officers when I did my Seaman to Admiral board, the junior officers or junior enlisted make things happen, and the officers are good for a signature. You take care of your junior people, they'll take care of you.
Yeah.
So I walked back over with tail number, flight time, and I had my mom picking up phone cards. And she was buying phone cards. She worked at a convenience store, And so she was buying them wholesale from the guy who was bringing them into the convenience store
Oh, wow.
and then sending them to me. And I was using that as morale.
Yeah.
People, it cost me a couple bucks a card.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was costing me like half price. So a $5 card was costing me $2.50.
Yeah.
And a $10 card was costing me $5.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was handing them out because
nice.
when people can call back home and talk to somebody, it makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walked over to Marcent with a stack of probably 15 or 20, maybe more phone cards.
Mm-hmm.
And these two kids are looking at me and they're like, what are these? I'm like, well, they're phone cards. So you can, call back home and stuff. And they looked at me and they said, can we send these north? And I'm like, you can do whatever you want with them. I said, I appreciate what you did for me. And they're like, we're going to send these up north to the guys in Iraq so that they can call home easier and it not cost them. And I'm like, you do what you want to do with them. That's what you want to do with them. Not, I said, we're living in a lap of luxury down here. This is, great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you do what you want to do. During that trip, I'd also taken a quick trip up to Iraq. We had a group up in Balad that did custom stuff. So had a group up there, and I had a SUPO, supply corps officer, that needed to go up and do an inventory, and they wanted somebody to go with her. So I ended up going up there for a couple days. That was fairly early in the rotation.
Okay.
But went up there for a few days, and Margaritaville is what it's called for a reason.
Yeah.
and like they say, the first couple rounds, people freak out and they run for bunkers, and after that, it's like, well, if it's coming, it's coming.
Oh yeah.
I had decided, like, right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, if it's coming, it's going to hit me. I really don't care.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, you had everybody running for bunkers and stuff. We need to hear the sirens, and so yeah, we ended up rotating back.
Okay.
Came back. I had was in the process of purchasing a house. The house that I'm currently in.
And that's St. Louis area?
In Seward, Nebraska.
Oh, Nebraska. Okay, sorry. All right.
Well, you're good. I was in St. Louis for a while.
Yeah.
But so purchased this house. A friend of mine that I went to high school with owned it, got divorced, quit paying on it. So we picked it up in a foreclosure.
Okay.
The basement was caving in.
Oh, geez.
So I literally got back the 22nd of May. We closed on the house the 4th of June. And on the 13th of June, I had a company come in and lift the house up about 4 foot out of the ground.
Wow.
And on the 15th, on Monday, I showed up and took a skid loader and dug the whole basement out of the house, started digging it out.
Yeah.
We poured footings on the 1st of July. My oldest two, my oldest daughter and my son, mixed mortar and tinted block for me all summer. And we laid about 1,800 block in the basement. I've got a 10-foot ceiling. So it's still about 4 foot out of the ground. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, they tinted block for me all summer. And that was my therapy.
Yeah.
That was my, come back from being overseas and how do you reintegrate? That's a big thing that I want to do on my podcast as I get started with that is, the reintegration and what people don't understand about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So was home for a year and 4 days. I had picked up a set of orders to go to Afghanistan as a embedded training team member.
Okay.
To go over and teach the Afghans how to be soldiers. While I was back, I had received a phone call from my next CO that was like, "Hey, do you want to go with me to Kuwait again?" And I was like, "I don't know. What are you doing?" And he was like, "Well," he said, "we're going to go do customs and and take care of that stuff. And I said, really? He goes, oh yeah, we're going to go to this place. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I asked if he had talked to the admiral yet. And he said, no. I said, well, go talk to the admiral. Tell her I said hi. And because the admiral that was there when I was gone the first time was still the admiral for the group.
Okay.
So he's like, no, I haven't talked to her yet, but I'm supposed to go talk to her next week. And I said, okay. And he told me that his friends had told him about me. So I joked with him. I said, well, if those are your friends, you don't want any enemies, because I wouldn't trust those guys. And he's been my CO for my first deployment and my OIC that I had back here in the States. So I get there and was like, he calls me back. And I told him, oh, I'd already taken orders to Afghanistan. Sorry. So sad. So too bad.
Yeah.
So while I was still here waiting in Omaha, they've got a catch-all unit, which is called an operational support unit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have a unit in your local area that you actually are assigned to,
Mm-hmm.
you fall into this. And it's just an admin unit type thing. The person that they had assigned went ahead and retired, but had told the CO at the reserve center, whatever you do, don't put Dan in charge of that unit, because he's a bad officer.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So I get a phone call from the CO, and he's like, hey, I don't know what's going on here, but evidently there's a problem there. I said, I've never met this person. Know nothing about him. But they had put me in as being a bad officer. So he asked me if I want to be put in charge of that. So, okay. So I'm the officer in charge for this catch-all unit.
Yeah.
And medical readiness is down. All the training is in the crapper because she was retiring, not even
Mm-hmm.
road because she wasn't on active duty, but she was just retiring and just didn't really care.
Yeah.
So I get there and I walk in and I'm like, okay, here's the standard. The standard is you're going to be doing military type stuff. You're here for 2 days, you get paid for 4. If you got your test coming up for advancement, you're going to be working on that. If the unit that you're assigned to has got stuff, you're going to be working on that. You're not going to be reading the newspaper. You're not going to be playing on your phones. You're going to be doing something for the military. If nothing up here, I can get you some work downstairs with some of the active duty components that needs help in supply and whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to make this happen. So, I get all these individuals that have been being marked absent, but an authorized absence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going against them to be kicked out.
Okay.
In the reserves, if you get 9 unauthorized absences, you can be separated for not participation.
Oh, geez. Wow. Okay.
You get nine within a year, you can be separated. So I had this individual that had multiple absences.
Mm-hmm.
And I had started marking them unauthorized absences because they weren't there. So I talked to the chiefs and they're like, oh, she's great, but she's pregnant and she hasn't been showing up to drill. I don't care if she's pregnant or not. She needs to be here. It's not like we're doing strenuous work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they call her in, she gets there and starts crying. I take her in the office. There's me, her, a couple of chiefs, and I start going off on her and telling her that, you know what, you don't want to show up, that's fine. We'll kick you out of the Navy. I have no issues with that. So she starts crying. I told her that she's got 6 months. If she misses a drill in 6 months, I will kick her out of the Navy.
Okay.
She's 3 months pregnant. So I leave in May. She's still pregnant.
Uh-huh.
She's still on this 6-month probation that I put her on. She's literally, I'm gone. I'm either in Virginia or already overseas. And when she's due,
Okay.
she goes into labor on drill weekend and is headed to the hospital, calls the chief, and is like, Chief, I know he said that if I missed a drill in 6 months that he'd kick me out of the Navy, but I'm on the way to the hospital to give birth to my child. And the chief's like, you know what, you're covered. It's okay.
This one's authorized.
This one's authorized. You're good. But she called in instead of just blowing it off.
Yeah.
She called in. She took responsibility.
Yeah. Lesson learned. That's good.
Years later, I run into her again.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got orders to Afghanistan, and those orders on Tuesday before Memorial Day, because I'm supposed to fly out, I'm supposed to be out in Virginia for in processing back onto active duty.
Okay.
Tuesday after Memorial Day. So get ready to go. Tuesday before, I get a email that my orders to Afghanistan have been canceled. They canceled the mission, rotated it back to the Army.
Okay.
So, okay, with a note that, well, if you don't have orders within the next week, we're just going to go ahead and cancel everything and you're not going to deploy. Okay. Yeah.
So how does that work then? Like, cause they said, if you don't have orders, does that mean you have to call around and find something?
Well, so the 06, the CO that had called me and asked me if I wanted to go with him, I knew that they were deploying about the same time.
Okay.
So I called their unit that's left behind, the active duty unit. I called them and I'm like, hey, by chance, do you have any orders to go forward with that group? And the guy goes, as a matter of fact, we're short on officers. And I said, well, great. Here's this group that just got canceled. So if you need officers, there's going to be plenty of them there. He's like, okay, great. I said, do you have a spot for me? And he goes, I'll call you back later this afternoon. Okay. So he calls me back later in the afternoon and he goes, yeah, pack your bags. You're going with us instead of with them. So literally I get new orders on Wednesday. I show up at the reserve center on Thursday. I check out of the reserve center on Thursday. I fly out on Monday on Memorial Day, and I check into Virginia on Tuesday on a new set of orders.
Nice.
And there were multiple other people that ended up on that deployment with us that were with the embedded training team that were supposed to be going on that group.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that was a interesting time when the CO shows up and he's like, well, introduces himself. This is who I am. Oh, hey, how you doing? And introduced himself to everybody. And so everybody's sitting there all wide-eyed, here's the 06 that's here. Okay, great. And he gets done and we walk out, or he walks outside and I walk out behind him. Now, when I got there, I had already been over to Cheatham and met everybody because they went in two groups. He went in a first group and a second group just so you didn't have to take all your people at one time.
Okay.
And it was like a 2-week in between. Your first group would be there for 2 weeks and your second group would go over. Then when you came home, your first group would come back 2 weeks early, right. Your second group. And so I had already went over and talked to everybody that was going on the first group because I knew where they were staying, the hotel they were staying in over by Cheatham.
Okay.
So I went over and talked to them. A lieutenant commander or commander, supply corps type, was going to be the operations officer. And he found out that I had been the operations officer. So he's like, well, I want you as my assistant operations officer. And I was like, well, no. I've got your t-shirt. Why should I follow up to be the assistant? That's dumb. Yeah. So, I'd met the CO. He asked me if I was a bad penny. And I looked at him and go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I call you. I ask you if you want to go with me. You tell me to call the admiral. I talk to the admiral. I call you back. You tell me no. Now, all of a sudden, the last minute, you show up. Well, of course, sir. Here I am. And
that's good.
Day one of our in processing, there was an E8 that was there that had been with me on my first deployment.
Okay.
And he was not a good individual. He was a problem child.
All right.
He was a problem child. He liked to teach salsa dancing to the junior enlisted.
Okay.
Okay. And so I knew this was a problem from the first deployment, but he shows up for the second one. I go talk to the head shed, the CO, the chief of staff, the XO, and I'm like, we've got this individual here, and he really doesn't need to go with us. Well, we can't leave him. I said, I'm telling you, these are the problems we're going to have. This is the problems we had the last time. These are the problems we're going to have this time. Nope, we got to take him with us. Okay. I said, if you're going to take him, I don't want him. I don't want to work with him. I can, but I don't. It would be better if we didn't, because we have a history, and it's not a good history. So, okay, great. Nope, he won't be with you. Okay. So we're going through training. We're going through we're going through inspections stuff because we're going to do customs. And we get all the way to the end. Well, during that, the exercise that I had done in 07, this group had done like a month prior to.
Oh, okay.
Well, if there is a way that enlisted soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines can get alcohol in somewhere where they're not supposed to have it, they probably will.
Yeah, that's true.
So during this exercise, they decided to sneak in a couple coolers full of beer and got in a little bit of trouble, went in captain's mast for it. And so after the captain's mast, here comes the CSO, and he's like, hey, your name got brought up at the admiral's office today during this conference call with everybody that's already forward. I said, it did? He's like, yeah. He said, the guy forward wants you as his assistant ops officer. And I said, I know. I said, I told you to just put me up at Ali Salim because you've got more people up there. And because of what you're doing at Ali Salim, you did customs on people.
Right.
At Airf John, at the port, at K&B, even at the K Crossing, at Beering, and up at Balad, you did customs on equipment, on Connex boxes.
Right.
But at Ali Salim, you were doing it on people. So people sneaking booze back, what do you do with it? You got to confiscate it. Well, now the people that are doing the customs have access to the confiscated stuff. And what always happens? They always get it.
Yeah.
So anything you weren't supposed to have, 1 Bravo, no pornography, no alcohol, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
So you just weren't supposed to have that stuff. And I'm like, you put me up there, I'll take care of that. And so it got brought up with the call forward with the admiral. And, the guy forward was like, hey, we need him. I want him as my ops officer. They said, well, he doesn't want to do that. So the admiral's like, and recognizes my name because when I came back from the first deployment, the chain of command that I had here in the States, my local one, which was in Chicago, was told by the captain to put me in for junior officer of the year for the supply battalion.
Right.
And they said, no, we're going to put somebody else in. So the captain, the chain of command, the local chain of command had put somebody else in for junior officer of the year, but it had gotten up to the captain, and he had 3 battalions underneath of him.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes up to him for him to forward it onto the admiral. And he's like, yeah, now Gross is going to go in for this. So he writes me up, sends me in over my local CO's objection.
Yeah.
And he sends it in. And I ended up as junior officer of the year for a supply corps battalion as a non-supply corps officer.
That's awesome.
And then my departing or my advancement eval, because I picked up 04
Okay.
after I got back, ended up as a 1-of-1 promotable. So something you really, a promotable eval or fitness report is not what you want in your record.
Mm-hmm.
You want an early promote or a must promote, or you get down to promotable if you have to. But, if you're a 1-of-1, you should be in one of the top 2 sections.
Okay.
Well, I asked my XO why I got this promotable eval. And he was like, because. Didn't really have a reason for it. So, okay, whatever.
That's messed up.
Yeah. So they asked the admiral. The admiral's like, well, you probably want to listen to what he says. And if he wants to go to Ollie, let him go to Ollie, because you are. I've had many rotations through there. And the most problems are people at Ali Salim, because they have access to everything that everybody's bringing back that they're not supposed to have. So the porn, the booze, any of that stuff, they have access to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got somebody that knows the game, put him in there and just let him run it, and you'll be fine.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So lo and behold, I ended up as the OIC for Ali Salim on that rotation.
Very nice. Dang.
And the E8 that I said I didn't want with me ended up getting assigned to me.
Oh, geez.
And he went to the command master chief of the group and was like, I don't want to be there. And I went to my head shed and I'm like, what are you doing? We've had this conversation. And their answer to me was, we don't have another officer strong enough to lead him. And I go, well, that's not my fault. I told you to get rid of him in the first place. So yeah, he got stuck with me. And I ended up putting him in Beering, because we had a little outpost in Beering that went up to K crossing, so the border between Kuwait and Iraq.
Okay.
He was in charge of that group, and I put him up there, and I said, I really need senior leadership up here, because there's only about 12 of you up here. Mm-hmm. I just need somebody up there that I can, really count on. Realistically, it was to get him out of my hair.
Yeah.
And try and get him into a place where there was nobody he could get in trouble with. Which ended up not being the case.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes.
Oh,
so,
my God.
Yeah, he shortly after we got there, he ended up getting a hold of my command down at Al-Assad or Ali Salim,
mm-hmm.
and was like, I've got a situation. And he shows up, doesn't want to talk about it on the phone, shows up. There's an incident where some of the people up there may have pulled weapons on other people, and told them they can't rat them out for stuff that they're doing that they weren't supposed to be doing. And so we had to go up, we had to take their weapons. We pulled them out. They ended up going home, getting a little bit of trouble.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's one good thing that he did, is when we had that issue, he actually, stepped up and was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So called and we got that taken care of. And yeah, we sent them home pretty quick.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun.
That's one way of putting that.
Yeah.
Thanks again for doing this. I truly
Absolutely.
appreciate it. I always enjoy hearing your stories. You're a great storyteller. So, it keeps me interested and excited whenever you come on. So I appreciate it.
But to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some good resources. You can always dial 988 press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net. Click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. Dan cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with, ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Dan, one last time, man. Thanks. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.